So in the TV show Landman, which got pretty popular here in the US for a couple months ago, there is a pretty famous real life businessman, a man named Jerry Jones, came in and did a cameo. And in that cameo, he sat down and gave a talk to John Hamm's character. And John Hamm's character is, well, not a real person, but he was a character in the show who is an oil billionaire. And the guy is sitting in the hospital, and he has just had, John Hamm's character, has just had a heart attack, and he's about to die. So has all the money in the world, but he's pushed himself so hard that his body has finally just given up. The talk that Jerry Jones gives is, well, pretty beautiful. And it was frankly pretty amazing how good he was on camera, despite not being a trained actor. Frankly, the guy, owns the Dallas Cowboys, has been in front of a lot of media, but given no training, he was a better actor than some of the actors on this show, Landman. And Jerry Jones basically has two messages. One of which I totally agree with, and the other one just kind of drove me crazy, and I want to talk about it. So message number one from Jerry Jones was great, which was, look, like, you can have all the money in the world, you can have all this wealth, but if you don't have people around you that you care about, if you're not making the world a better place, if you're not taking care of your family, if you're not taking care of your health, like, none of that matters. Like, you know what the difference between a dead billionaire and a dead, millionaire is? Well, both of them left big estates, but they're still both dead, right? So that's kind of the lesson there. And I agreed with that point, right? Life has to be about more than just the accumulation of wealth and trying to put everything together for yourself. And so Jerry was right there. But his second message kind of drove me nuts. And I want to talk about that, which was he basically talked about how he orchestrated his whole life in order to have his children come work for him. And I saw where that went, right? He definitely was, despite talking about how great it was for everybody that they were all working together, in reality, in that speech, what he's saying is it's great for him. He has all of his kids working in his Dallas Cowboys organization, and he has them where he wants them, and he gets to spend time with them and all that kind of stuff. But what he didn't really talk about was what was important to the kids. And it opened my mind to this idea because I went to a conference last week, and it was a conference I put on called Holdco Conference. And we had a family office there. And it was the dad who's in his 70s, who's pretty close to, ending his career and just kind of enjoying the good times with his grandkids and that sort of thing, and his son. And there was a fundamental difference in the way this dad, who's going to remain anonymous, the way he approached stuff versus the Jerry Jones way. And I think this other dad has it totally right, and Jerry Jones's character and Jerry Jones's speech has it totally wrong. And the fundamental difference is, similar to Jerry, this particular patriarch of the family had made a lot of money, been very successful, and he was orchestrating his whole business life in order to have his kids work for him and be part of this kind of broader family enterprise, this generational wealth where they would have a bunch of businesses as a family and they would all work on them, and he would be kind of the patriarch over the whole thing, supporting them and being the chair and all this kind of stuff. And fundamentally, that sounds like a good idea. And he went down this Jerry Jones path. But then he looked up and his kids started to turn 25, 30, 35. And he heard the same thing over and over from his kids, which was, we want to do our own thing, Dad. We want to be independent. We don't want to be part of your organization. We don't want to be part and under your control and all this stuff. And where Jerry seems to have kept his kids all inside the organization of Dallas Cowboys and kept that level of control, what this dad did that I saw at the conference was fundamentally understand he had to change his mind about how he was going to be working with his kids. And he realized that if he continued to want to control everything, to have them, be in a situation where he set up what the family was going to work on, he was going to lose his kids. And they were going to be in a position where the kids ultimately weren't going to get what they wanted, which was they wanted to be independent. And look, this dad at the conference remains nameless. He decided to let his kids have more freedom, and he was going to be more supportive as part of the broader family enterprise for them, but less dictatorial. He wasn't going to try to control them and determine what they were working on. And to me, this situation with the dad was amazing. Because I look at the Jerry Jones situation, look, I don't know anything about his family, but just watching that speech, I can tell you those kids are in a place where they have no choice. Like, Jerry's still the boss. But in the case of this other dad, It was terrific. I saw that he and his son, who were on the stage, had a great camaraderie. The son was so grateful that the dad had taken a role as somebody who was an advisor and a coach and a mentor and a partner for him, rather than somebody who still was at the helm of the whole thing, which is where Jerry Jones is. And you can see that in his speech. And so I think that's the fundamental lesson from all this, which is, if you're a parent and you're getting older, and a lot of us talk about this idea of generational wealth, like, you have a choice as to how you're going to approach stuff, and whether you're going to let your kids, flower and be their own people, or whether you're going to, well, have them keep working for you, and how much control you're going to have over what they're doing. And to me, I look at these two stories and admire a ton the second dad, the one who made the choice to let his kids be more independent and be more supportive, versus what's going on with Jerry Jones, which, man, I can just read between the lines. It's not pretty over there. So that's my talk on this. Let me know what you think. And if you're building generational wealth, maybe this will help you. I'm 50, and at some point, you're going to have to make the choice of what to do with whatever we have left over when I hit retirement, and how we're going to work with our kids. And I'm excited about it, but we'll see what we decide. Let me know what you think.